Before we get to the mind map, did you know we have an app? It's totally free. And it has over 1,000 CISM practice questions. Something unusual we do with it is that we retire questions that don't perform well because they're too easy or too difficult. Tons of people go through the exam after breezing through hundreds of easy practice questions and then wonder why the exam feels impossible. We want to provide a more realistic set of practice questions. So take a look. It's totally free, and as usual, the link is in the description.
Strategic planning sets a destination, and a business case explains why security deserves a seat on that bus. It turns tech jargon into a story executives actually want to fund. A business case serves as your formal justification for security investments, translating technical requirements into language that resonates with executive decision makers. Let's review these main business case components, starting with the executive summary. Your executive summary captures the essence of your entire proposal in a single page, providing busy executives with immediate insight into the value proposition. Crafting an effective problem statement requires you to articulate not just what's wrong, but why it matters to the business and what happens if nothing changes. The best problem statements quantify risk exposure, identify specific vulnerabilities, and connect security gaps to potential business impacts like revenue loss, regulatory penalties, or reputational damage. This is your burning platform for change, the fire alarm that makes everyone drop their coffee and now pay attention. Your solution description transforms abstract security concepts into tangible business outcomes by detailing how proposed controls, technologies, or processes will address identified problems. Rather than focusing solely on technical specifications, effective solution descriptions empathize operational improvements, risk reduction metrics, and alignment with existing business processes. Cost-benefit analysis represents the financial heart of your business case, requiring sophisticated modeling of both tangible and intangible factors across multiple time horizons. Beyond simple ROI calculations, you must account for risk reduction value, opportunity costs, total cost of ownership, including hidden expenses like training and maintenance, and the strategic value of enhanced security posture. Risk assessment within your business case identifies potential obstacles to implementation success, from technical challenges to organizational resistance. By proactively addressing these concerns and proposing mitigation strategies, you demonstrate thorough planning and increase stakeholder confidence in your proposal. A robust implementation plan breaks down your security initiative into manageable phases with clear milestones, resource requirements, and success criteria for each stage. This roadmap demonstrates visibility by showing exactly how you'll transition from current state to desired state, including dependencies, critical path activities, and contingency plans for common obstacles. Stakeholders want proof you've thought past the shiny pitch, down to who's installing it, who's grumbling about the change, and how it actually works on Monday morning. Recommendations crystallize your analysis into specific, actionable next steps that decision makers can approve and implement. Once the core components of the business case are in place, the next question is inevitable. How much will it cost? That's where the budget section comes in. The budget section details all financial requirements, including capital expenditures, operational costs, and resource allocation necessary for successful implementation. You can buy all the tools in the world, but without the right people to run them, security is just shelfware. That's why workforce skills matter. Understanding workforce composition and key skills enables strategic alignment between security capabilities and human capital investments. With that in mind, technical proficiency in security extends far beyond basic tool operation, encompassing deep understanding of system architectures, threat vectors, and defensive strategies across multiple technology domains. Today's security professionals must navigate complex hybrid environments, understand cloud-native security models, and adapt additional controls to emerging technologies like containerization and serverless computing. Next off, effective communications bridges the gap between technical security teams and business stakeholders, translating complex threats into understandable risks and actionable recommendations. Similarly, analytical thinking in security context involves decomposing complex problems into manageable components, identifying patterns across seemingly unrelated events, and synthesizing diverse data sources to form coherent threat pictures. Security leadership involves guiding teams through crisis situations, building security-conscious cultures, and influencing organizational behavior without formal authority. The best leaders are part tech guru, part therapist, and part diplomat, building trust while getting the job done. Once you understand your team's skills and capabilities, the next step is to put them in context. SWOT analysis provides the framework to evaluate strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats across the program. Let's go through these. Strengths represents internal capabilities, resources, or advantages that enhance your security posture and provide competitive differentiation in the marketplace. Weaknesses identify internal limitations, resource constraints, or capability gaps that could be exploited by adversaries or hidden security program initiatives. Honest assessment of weaknesses enables targeted improvements and risk mitigation strategies that strengthen overall security posture. Opportunities emerge from external trends, technological advances, or market conditions that could enhance your security program's effectiveness or efficiency. Opportunities might look like shiny new security tech, regulators suddenly footing a bigger part of the bill, or teaming up with partners who make your defenses stronger. Lastly, threats encompass external factors, including adversary capabilities, emerging attack vectors, and environmental changes that would compromise your security posture. A SWOT analysis tells you where you stand, but metrics tell you if you're actually moving. They put hard numbers on performance, risk, and value, and they're the next piece we'll be reviewing. Security program metrics provide quantitative measures of performance, risk, and value delivery that enable data-driven decision-making and continuous improvement. Key performance indicators measure operational efficiency and effectiveness of security controls, processes, and teams against established baselines and targets. The main types of these include strategic, operational, and tactical. Let's review these. Strategic KPIs align security performance with long-term organizational objectives, measuring how effectively security investment supports business growth, risk appetite, and competitive positioning. These metrics typically span multiple quarters or even years, tracking trends in security maturity, risk reduction, and value creation. Examples include security investment, ROI, time to detect advanced threats, and security's contribution to business enablement initiatives. Operational KPIs track day-to-day security activities and process performance, such as patch compliance rates, incident response times, and vulnerability remediation speeds. Tactical KPIs measure immediate security activities and control effectiveness, including firewall block rates, malware detection counts, and user training completion percentages. KPIs tell you while you're rowing, but KGIs tell you if you're actually getting short. Key goal indicators measure achievement of strategic objectives, showing whether security initiatives deliver intended business outcomes and value. Apologies for the alphabet soup. KPIs, KGIs, and now just one more, CSFs. But CSFs are worth it. They spotlight the must-haves your security program needs to succeed. Critical success factors identify essential conditions or capabilities that must exist for security programs to achieve their strategic objectives. While critical success factors define what must go right, organizations also need to watch for what could go wrong. That's the role of key risk indicators. Key risk indicator criteria establish thresholds and parameters for identifying emerging risks before they materialize into incidents. Think of KRIs as early warning sirens. They spot trouble in the trends so you can fix problems before they blow up into full-blown incidents. Impact measures the potential business consequences if a risk materializes, typically quantified in financial terms, operational disruption, or reputational damage. Effort quantifies resources required to implement and maintain security controls, including time, money, personnel, and opportunity costs. Reliability in metrics ensures consistent, reproducible measurements across time periods and different evaluators. Reliable metrics maintain their accuracy regardless of who collects the data or when measurements occur, providing stable baselines for trend analysis and decision-making. Our last KRI criteria is sensitivity. It determines how quickly metrics respond to changes in underlying conditions, balancing between excessive noise from minor fluctuations and delayed detection of significant trends. Well-calibrated sensitivity enables timely identification of emerging issues without triggering false alarms for normal variations. KRIs highlight emerging risks, but they're only part of the bigger picture. Effective metrics integrate these insights into a clear view of performance and risk that leaders can act on. Effective metrics drive meaningful action by providing clear insights into security performance and risk posture. The goal is simple: give leaders clarity at a glance, not at a 200-page bedtime story in disguise. To start us off, accurate metrics play a pivotal role in ensuring that decision-making is grounded in reliable evidence. Secondly, cost-effective metrics deliver valuable insights without excessive collection or analysis expenses. Next, repeatable metrics follow standardized collection and calculation procedures that produce consistent results across different time periods and evaluators. Moving on, predictive metrics identify emerging trends before they become problems, enabling proactive investigation and risk mitigation. Actionable metrics provide clear guidance on required responses, linking measurements directly to specific improvement activities or risk mitigation steps. Building on this, manageable metrics are those that remain practical to track and act upon, staying within the team's capacity while still delivering meaningful value. In addition, meaningful metrics directly reflect progress towards core goals, ensuring the data collected provides genuine insight rather than superficial numbers. Similarly, unambiguous metrics are clearly defined and interpreted in only one way, eliminating confusion and ensuring consistent understanding across all stakeholders. Finally, genuine metrics accurately represent the reality they are intended to measure, avoiding distortion or manipulation that could mislead decision-making. It's great to show keeping tracks and creates value, but stakeholders also ask, what about the risks? Risk management answers by balancing threats, cost, and impact. A risk management framework provides structured approaches for identifying, assessing, treating, and monitoring risks across the enterprise. Risk roles define clear responsibilities and accountabilities for risk management activities across the organization. When roles are defined right, you don't get gaps, overlaps, or turf wars, just a security team that fights threats instead of each other. Let us start off by first reviewing risk owners. Risk owners hold ultimate accountability for specific risks, making decisions about acceptance, mitigation, or transfer based on business context. Next off, senior management establishes risk appetite, allocates resources for risk management, and ensures that risk considerations inform strategic decisions. Their engagement signals organizational commitment to risk management, influencing culture and behavior throughout the enterprise. Effective senior management involvement requires regular risk reporting that translates technical vulnerabilities into business impacts, enabling informed decision-making about risk acceptance and mitigation investments. Moving on, the risk management team serves as an organizational nerve center for threat intelligence, risk assessment, and mitigation coordination across diverse business units and technical domains. These professionals must possess a unique blend of technical expertise, business acumen, and communication skills that enable them to translate between technical vulnerabilities and business impacts. Next up, employees serve as the first line of defense, identifying and reporting potential risks while following established security policies and procedures. Now, We can define roles and manage risks, but how do we prove we actually did it? That's where risk documentation comes in. Risk documentation creates institutional memory and audit trails that demonstrate due diligence in risk management. Comprehensive documentation captures risk assessments, treatment decisions, and residual risk acceptance, providing transparency for stakeholders and regulators while enabling knowledge transfer. What does our documentation need to have? Let's start with objectives. Risk documentation objectives include maintaining compliance evidence, enabling consistent risk treatment, and providing historical context for risk decisions. Next off, documentation audiences range from technical teams requiring detailed control specifications to executives needing high-level risk summaries and trend analysis. Furthermore, information resources for risk management encompass internal data sources like vulnerability scans and incident reports, external threat intelligence feeds, industry benchmarks, and regulatory guidance that collectively inform risk assessments. The challenge lies in synthesizing diverse, often conflicting information streams into coherent risk pictures that support decision-making. Organizations must develop capabilities to evaluate source credibility, correlate disparate indicators, and extract actionable intelligence from noise. Effective information resource management also requires understanding the temporal nature of risk data, recognizing when information becomes stale and when real-time feeds are necessary versus periodic assessments. Risk assumptions document the underlying beliefs and constraints that shape risk assessments and treatment decisions. Finally, decision criteria establish consistent thresholds and parameters for risk treatment choices, ensuring similar risks receive comparable responses regardless of who performs the assessment. One more big idea before we wrap up, and it's worth the airtime. The balanced scorecard shows how to turn strategy into measurable action across the whole organization. The balanced scorecard translates security strategy into operational metrics across multiple perspectives, ensuring comprehensive performance measurement beyond traditional financial indicators. By balancing multiple perspectives, organizations avoid the tunnel vision that comes from focusing solely on technical metrics or financial returns. Of course, this sounds like big ideas, so how exactly are they implemented? Interesting question. Very shortly, we can say that the four components of the balanced scorecard create a holistic view of security program performance by examining different but interconnected dimensions of value creation. These components are financial, customer, business process, and learning and growth. Let us dive into the financial component. Firstly, the financial perspective measures security's contribution to organizational financial performance through cost reduction, loss prevention, and efficiency improvements. Secondly, the customer perspective evaluates how well security services meet stakeholder needs, measuring satisfaction, trust, and perceived value. Next up, business process metrics examine the efficiency and effectiveness of security operations, from incident response times to vulnerability remediation rates. Think of them as the X-ray for your process, spotting the bottlenecks, pointing out the shortcuts, and saving money along the way. Finally, learning and growth perspectives focus on building future security capabilities through skill development, knowledge management, and innovation initiatives. This forward-looking lens makes sure security doesn't just stand still, but keeps leveling up to take on the next wave of threats and tech. And that is an overview of strategic planning within Domain 1, covering the most critical concepts you need to know for the exam.
If you haven't already, remember to get our free app with over 1,000 CISM practice questions, including tons about information security, governance, domain, and others that you're going through. The link is in the description. And also, make sure that you're subscribed so that you get the next mind maps as well.